how much it's going to change their lives. I've had clients after the procedure, when I show them their results, they look in the mirror and we both just start crying in happy tears. And I fell in love with the art of microblading, and I fell in love with the idea that you could truly change someone's life through art. That moment when they get to see themselves whole again is super emotional, and that really means the world to me that I'm able to do this for them.
The most important, actually. Lara already answered my ninth question. That's usually it.
I get a second chance.
Hello everyone! Today we have a very special guest, an absolutely amazing artist who is changing life through her work. Please welcome Lara Brown.
Hi.
Lara is international areola artist and trainer, a winner and speaker at the Global PMU Championships, and the owner of one of the top 5 permanent makeup studios in Toronto. With almost 7 years of experience, she has created a unique space for breast cancer survivors, providing a supportive environment for those seeking areola reconstruction after mastectomy. Her work is truly life-changing, helping women regain their confidence and supporting their mental and emotional well-being. Today we are going to talk about the power of areola reconstruction, why this procedure is gaining more recognition. Plus, we'll dive into the tools, techniques and supplies that make it works possible. Lara, we're so excited to have you here. Let's dive in. Can you tell us more about yourself, how you got into PMU?
Before I was in the permanent makeup world, I was a behavior therapist. I was working with children with autism. I loved my job, but I felt as the funding around autism and education was changing, the workplace started to become quite a sad place to work. It was around the same time that microblading started to become more popular, and I became obsessed with the idea of getting my eyebrows done. So I was in a transitionary period where I felt like my current job wasn't enough, and I wanted to be more creative in my life and in my career. So I took a course about microblading, and I fell in love with the art of microblading, and I fell in love with the idea that you could truly change someone's life through art, and you could essentially tattoo back confidence. So I was microblading for a while. I went to a couple of conferences around the world, and the one that changed my life was in 2019. I went to the permanent makeup conference in Vegas. I was there to learn about microblading and ombre brows and lips and eyeliner, and little did I know that the next speakers who walked on the stage were going to change my life. They did a presentation about areola tattooing. I had no idea what this was, and I sat in the audience in complete awe at how powerfully life-changing this service could be. At the end of the conference, they had a raffle, and out of 500 people, I won a raffle for a textbook about areola tattooing. So I went home, I read it cover to cover, and I thought, if this isn't a sign from the universe that this is where I'm supposed to go, and here I am today.
Yeah, it sounds like your destiny, right? Yeah, and so it made you like to choose like areola reconstruction. It was like that particular moment, right? That you choose.
Yeah, it really felt like it was meant to be for me.
Yes, that's great. More and more people are talking about areola reconstruction right now, but it wasn't always like that. How do you think, or why do you think areola reconstruction is finally getting attention it deserves?
A couple of reasons. I think, firstly, the power of social media. Clients are bravely sharing their stories, their experiences, and the results, which is normalizing the conversation around areola tattooing. So by showing their before and afters and what they've been through and where they're at now, people are now talking about something that used to be quite taboo to talk about. The other thing is that medical professionals are finally recognizing the importance of areola tattooing as part of the final step in a breast cancer survivor's journey. Previously, surgeons or nurses were tattooing in the OR, and the results were very lackluster. They were using old materials, old pigments, sorry, not materials, they were using old machines, old pigments, and they're not tattoo artists. So the results that were coming out of the OR were so poor that there was no reason to talk about areola tattooing, because why would I want to show off something that didn't even look good? So now that medical professionals are referring to paramedical tattoo artists, and artists are actually doing a great job, people are more willing to share their experience and talk about it, and areola tattooing is getting the recognition that it deserves.
Yeah, it's very common right now. In the past, many women felt they had no choice but to hide their scars, stories, live with that trauma forever. They were afraid to talk about it. Now in 2025, everything is changing. Women are speaking up, showing strength, fighting for equality. How do you see areola reconstruction helping women regain their confidence and live their lives fully? Do you have any special stories that stuck with you?
Areola tattooing is the final part in a cancer survivor's journey after they've been through multiple surgeries, chemotherapy, radiation, so many unexpected surprises along the way. Some of these survivors tell me that they've been going through this for 10 plus years, and they finally get to that tattoo. And they're told by their surgeons that this is the next best step for them. And they're excited for it, but they don't really understand how much it's going to change their lives. I've had clients after the procedure, when I show them their results, they look in the mirror and we both just start crying in happy tears, because it's this feeling of seeing yourself put together again. Mm-hmm. I've had clients tell me that they refer to their body as Frankenstein. You know, parts have been cut off and replaced and moved around and removed, and they just look in the mirror and they just feel not like themselves. And then that moment when they get to see themselves whole again is super emotional. I've had a woman tell me that thanks to her areola tattoos, she can now shower in front of her husband again and not feel self-conscious. Mm-hmm. I've had women tell me that they can go to the gym and change in the change room without worrying that people are going to catch a glance and think something's wrong with them. I have so many stories and so many moments, and these little moments, I mean, little for me, I shouldn't say little, these moments for me are so emotional, you know, for them and for me. And there's one client in particular that really stood out to me because she was only 32 years old when she got diagnosed with breast cancer. And a lot of us take our health for granted, especially in our 30s. She told me that she was seemingly healthy and life was normal. She was at her friend's house one day. She was playing with her friend's dog named Butters, and they were messing around, rolling around, jumping on each other, and then Butters landed on her chest quite hard. And she felt a very, very sharp pain in her chest, and she knew right away that that pain was not a pain you should feel from a dog's paw on your chest. She immediately booked an appointment with her doctor. She got in for some scans and they found breast cancer. And at her appointment with me, she said there are 2 tattoos that are going to make me feel whole, the areola tattoos. And then she got a tattoo of a stick of butter on her arm to symbolize how this dog changed her life, because she wouldn't have found that lump otherwise.
That's true.
And that really stuck with me.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Lara, now I even feel much more like your impact, like in life of your clients, and they are very happy to meet with you, to return back to normal life. And you never know. That is the only one. Like all of us, we are in a risk. A lot of people still think that PMU industry is just brows, eyeliner, and lip blush. How do you think areola reconstruction is changing that perception?
Areola tattooing is showing people that the permanent makeup industry is not just about beauty. It can be about restoration and healing. While brows and liners and lips enhance someone's beauty, areola tattooing is a way to restore people's confidence. And it really bridges the gap between cosmetic and medical tattooing. So it proves to us that permanent makeup artists can have a profound impact in people's lives beyond the cosmetic sense of it.
I feel the same. That's what we talked to you, that it's kind of semi-medical procedure, I would say, like with the same like materials, with the same knowledges. You can start doing that. The only one, you need to find a trainer. And my next question about this. What would you say to PMU artists who are thinking about learning areola reconstruction but aren't sure where to start?
If you're a permanent makeup artist, you already have the foundation. So permanent makeup artists already know about cartridges, machines, how to whip shade, how to dry the line. They already have the foundation. in order to transition from permanent makeup to paramedical tattooing, the most important thing is to find a reputable trainer who will not only teach them the artistry, but support them through their journey. With medical tattooing, there are so many different cases, different types of skin. Has the skin been radiated? Did the client go through chemotherapy? Where was the skin transferred from? So some women will have a tummy tuck, and that skin will then be used on the breast as part of the reconstruction. So there are so many different types of cases that can come up with medical tattooing that not all of it can be taught in a 3-day class. So it's really important to find a trainer who's willing to support you for a lifetime. I personally provide lifetime support to my students because there's only so many clients that I can service myself, but being able to help my students and make sure that they are full of knowledge and expertise to a level where they can provide the best possible service to their clients is still my way of helping as many people as I can in the world. Another really important thing about medical tattooing is that unlike brows and liner and lips where it's more of a cosmetic approach, medical tattooing is done on clients who have been through absolute hell and back. They've been through the worst of the worst. They have faced death. These are not people who we should be practicing on in any way, shape, or form. It's so important that these artists who do decide to take this on are responsible and they practice on synthetic skin, and they practice and they learn and they devote so much time, do the best possible service they can. And as much as somebody might have the intention to do this, it's not enough without having the support of a trainer who's already done it and can guide them through it.
Yeah, you're completely right, because it's very important to find like a tattoo mentor that you're always ready to talk, you're always ready to ask any questions, because as we know, like during procedure anything can happen and you need to be ready. Like first of all, it's very important to choose the correct supplies. Yeah, and let's talk about them. What are some must-have supplies that you always use for areola reconstruction?
For areola tattoo procedures, I always use body tattoo inks, never permanent makeup inks. It is really important that you are using inks that are going to last in the body for as long as possible and that are not going to require frequent touch-ups. My favorite brands of pigments for body tattooing are world famous, which Maple sells. My favorite cartridges I use are Matrix Genesis. I love them. And I supply for my students the skins, the pigments, and the cartridges.
Choosing the right machine is crucial. What type of machine do you prefer to use for areola reconstruction and why?
For areola tattooing, I love to use the Flux and the Flux Mini machines. The Flux is a 3.2 stroke length and the Flux Mini is a 2.8. I believe they come in different options. I sometimes use 3 machines during my procedure and I sometimes use 1. The thing that's the most important to me about these machines is that they're wireless. So I really encourage all areola tattoo artists and all paramedical tattoo artists to be working with a wireless machine. This gives you the ability to move freely around your client, to work both sides. But most importantly, it helps maintain a sterile work environment. So you're not having to worry about cords and power supplies being wrapped and draping over your client while you're working. So you can just wrap that handheld machine and it keeps everything a lot more sterile and safe for your client.
We know you love to try and explore new cartridges and configuration, but what cartridges do you prefer to use for areola reconstruction? Do you have a go-to configurations that gives the best work for you?
When I'm tattooing areola, I use sometimes 3 to 5 different cartridges per procedure. The cartridges that I love the most are the Matrix Genesis ones. They are very sharp. They come in different configurations. Maple ships them so fast. I especially love the 15 mag because when you're working on the areola, it provides a lot of coverage fast. The faster that we're able to implant pigment into the skin, the less trauma there is, which makes it much easier for the client's healing. Other cartridges I like to use are a 3RL. I use a 3RL to delineate the nipple to the areola, so it gives a really nice clean line. I use a 3RS or a 5RS when I'm shading and creating details, so when I'm building up the 3D of the nipple or creating that shadow. These cartridges are great because they have a membrane protection, which I think is the most important thing when choosing a cartridge. And yeah, they're sharp, they're reliable, they give me great results, and they give me great healed results.
Do you use or have you tried any other brands except Matrix?
I love to use Kwadron, and I also love to use Vertix. I use a lot of those for permanent makeup, for brows specifically, but sometimes when I'm doing an areola procedure, I will pull a Kwadron or a Vertix needle, depending on the client's skin type. If there's more scar tissue in the area, I'll pull a needle with a thicker diameter, and yeah.
Thank you.
I was like, what else? You might have to cut that part at the end.
I know, it's
Thicker
ending.
diameter.
Yes. And for women who are considering about a procedure with you, but might feel nervous, what would you say to them?
I would tell them it's completely understandable to feel nervous about this kind of a procedure. Any change is hard, and I would reassure them that in the procedure, I would be there and explaining every step of the way. They would be part of it from the beginning at the consultation. They would be part of us deciding the placement and the shaping and the sizing and the color choices. I even include them into how much detail they want to see in the areola, the textures and the bumps, and people have preferences about that. I provide them with all the aftercare information they need, and I truly believe that the more somebody knows going into a procedure, the less scary it feels. I also tell them that it's okay to feel emotional during the procedure, and it's actually quite common. And I feel like once people hear that they aren't the only ones feeling this way, they are able to relax a lot more. Mm-hmm. So I do my best to support them through the procedure before, during, and after. And all of my clients have told me that I've changed their lives, and that really means the world to me that I'm able to do this for them.
Yeah, that is the most important, actually. Mm-hmm. And finally, where do you see a future of areola reconstruction in PMU industry?
With the demand for areola tattooing increasing, I do think we're going to see a lot of permanent makeup artists entering the medical tattoo world, which is great because the more clients who need this service, I truly hope there are more trained artists who are able to provide it to them at a very high level. With the social media awareness around it increasing and doctors starting to realize that tattoo artists should be providing this service, I think that we're really going to see a huge boom in this service. And I really, really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, encourage any artist who is going to take this on to please be responsible about it, to please get trained by a trainer who's going to support you, who's going to be there to answer your questions. There's going to be so many things that are coming up in their working environment that we shouldn't be guessing when it comes to this kind of a service. So I would love to see tons more artists providing this service as long as it's being provided safely. And if anyone wants support and anyone that wants to learn, you're welcome to message me, ask me questions, and I would love to help.
Lara, we truly appreciate you sharing today your knowledge, your expertise and your passion. Your work is beyond inspiring and your impact on the PMU industry is incredible. As a small token of our appreciation, we would like to present you some gifts from our sponsors, from Vertix Cartridges and Drave Pigments and Maple PMU supplies today. Thank you for being here with us. We really see and we really know that you change the life of your clients, returning back your confidence to them. And we can wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.